I'll bring the meeting back to order. Will everyone stand for the pledge? Tom, will you lead us in the pledge? To the United States of America, public for which under God, independent, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And those of you in Zoom land as well. You have an agenda in front of you, and I only have one change, one addition. I want to add A under new business, accept resignation from a board member.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the amended agenda. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the amended agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Recognize. Mute everybody for now.
Right. I was one button away from fix that.
It's okay. Recognitions. Bryce.
I would like to first recognize some members for all the support they gave to fall sports. I guess middle school has been going for a while now into their next season, but high school just wrapped everything up this season. So just want to say thank you to Mike and Carrie for all of the behind the scenes work that they did as athletic directors. They share a lot of responsibilities, and I just think that a lot of the things that they do and the hours that they put in, a lot of people don't see because only people are there for the games. And then also just want to thank all of our officials that we had helping out, and as well as the table workers, because without them, we wouldn't have all of these contests for our athletes. So big thank you to them. And then I also wanted to recognize Sally Hoover. Last week during PD, she put on a training for Canvas for our team that we're working with Carnegie Learning. They hadn't used Canvas before, and so to help them integrate with our system a little bit better, Sally took some time out of her day to do that for them. So I was really appreciative of her for that.
Great. Thank you. Brandy.
All right. I do have a few. First of all, I'd like to thank Pinnacle Bank. They brought coffee and treats to our pickup crew one night, and it was greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
And then, stayed around and helped us out a little bit. So also like to recognize Connie Heeb. She put on another great book fair. I don't have totals yet, but of course it was busy for the whole week it was set up. Would also like to say thank you to our maintenance crew this morning. It was super icy, as you all know, and they came right away and iced everything. So we had no falls that I know of. So, and then also like to say thank you to Taco John's and Grazers. They donated our lunches for our loyalty awards. Taco John's last month and Grazers this month. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. I would echo Brandy on the book fair. Rebecca Tacey did a really nice job at the middle school, and we were over $2,000 in sales, which I'm betting they're going to beat us because they usually do, but we were still pretty happy with that. And then we of course moved that into our incentive account for students. So we're excited about that. And then we did our excellence assembly for Q1 a couple weeks back. And one new thing that we were approached by the police department and the sheriff's department. They wanted to do something to recognize kids for character and integrity and work ethic and kindness and all those things. So it was our first run at the Sheriff and Chiefs Club, where a couple students in each grade level were recognized for all those positive characteristics, and extracurricular activities, all those things. So in the 8th grade, we had Dane Crabtree and Kendall Von Eye. In the 7th grade, we had Damian Ankeny and Annika Olson. And in the 6th grade, we had Davin Hoffman and Hannah Alexander. And we were just wanting to recognize those students. And I can type you a list, CeeLo, but that's our class.
Awesome.
And also, I guess I'd recognize Sheriff Colvard for coming down and presenting it. It went really well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other recognitions? Dana?
Okay. No, it's flashing green.
Sorry, is what we look for.
Maybe it's dead.
There.
Thank you.
There we go. Solid green light. Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to recognize the Sources of Strength program and Christy Lip. I spent all day with them and 8 other adults and 30 high school kids. And it's a really great experience. Do it if you get the chance. There is more wisdom amongst some of those young people than a lot of people think there is. So I really appreciated being included.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other? John?
Got it. Madam Chairman, I'd like to recognize Tom Wright for his years of service. This is his last board meeting. He's been here 47 years, correct? Since 1975, and that was the year that I graduated. So it's been a while. I just want to say thank you for your inspiration to the district and to the staff and to the students and your willingness to continue to work with them over that many years. It's greatly appreciated by me, and I've learned a lot from you, and I really do, really am going to miss you. I'd also like to recognize Marcia for her years of service, and it's a dedication that's in your family, I think. So it's greatly appreciated. I'd also like to recognize all the people that ran for the board. It takes a little bit of courage to throw your hat in the ring and be judged by your peers and voted upon. And thank you for doing that. It's something that doesn't always happen, and that's a great thing. But I'd also like to thank or congratulate the new members. Joe, you're going to be coming in December, and congratulations on that. And Sean Crabtree, another new one, and Dana and Jason. Yeah, he's not here.
He's on
Well, he's
Zoom.
up there.
Yeah.
I'd like to congratulate them for re-elected to the board and new election to the board, and hope you enjoy it as much as all the other board members do. So that's all I have.
Thank you for that, John. Yeah.
I got red and green both. I just want to thank you, all of you I've worked with, and I've enjoyed it, and all the effort you've made, and all of the staff. We've got a good school, and I've enjoyed being part of it. And thank you. It's been a good time. And yes, I will miss it. But on the other hand, if I were writing term limits, they would have been shorter than what you all have given me. So I'm grateful. Okay. But thank you. We've got a good school. We got great people, and just keep after. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Would you like? Way to go. Jeez. Okay. Is there anybody out in Zoom land that has any recognitions? No? Jeez. Okay, if you do raise a hand or wave at us or something. How about visitors' comments? Stanley.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Stanley Jasinski, losing candidate. Great to be here tonight. I just wanted to congratulate everybody that did win yesterday. I think it is a lot of work, and I appreciate what they did, and I appreciate their win. So congratulations. I'd like to recognize Tom for his longevity, 47 years. It's I don't realize any longevity that long in my life. So it's a great accomplishment. So thank you for your service. And Marcia, thank you. And I just want to say that I'm honored and humbled by the 359 votes I got. I think that's a great statement. It's amazing to me that I had people that I did not know, but heard my message and responded and took their most sacred right that we have and placed their vote in my honor or for my seat. So anyway, I'm not going away. So I feel dedicated and more resolved than ever in what I believe. And so I will continue to work for the students and the parents that voted for me, not the students, but the parents and the taxpayers. And I look forward to seeing you more in meetings. And yeah, so thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you. Any other visitors' comments? Okay. Okay, so we are moving on to action items, the consent agenda. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 2, old business, policy JLCF.
Madam Chair, I would recommend to you on second reading, the policy JLCF-R, which is the emergency opioid distribution on school grounds. And if there are questions, I do believe Allison is with us tonight under the appropriate name.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the policy JLCF, administration of stock opiate antagonist, and JLCF-R, emergency administration of stock opiate antagonist on second reading. Is there any discussion? Does anybody want to, so this, when we do second read, so basically it's a second reading because we're going to do it in 3 readings, just so that we have an opportunity to really look it over. Also that people have an opportunity to jump in and ask questions and wonder about something. And so that's why we do that, just so that, you know, so any other questions or comments, concerns? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are up to executive session. At this time, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session under Wyoming statute 16-4-405, little x, to discuss personnel.
Madam Chairman, I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, for those of you that have joined us via Zoom, I'm going to put you in the waiting room and then I will bring you back at the end of the executive session. Okay, Madam Chair, I believe we're back in session.
Okay, I'll bring the meeting back to order. We are up to new business. Accept retirement from a board seat from Ronnie Mills.
And Madam Chair, I would, with respect of Ronnie's wish to retire from the board and thank him for not only his years of service, but the mileage in which he put on for children, driving the school bus and everything else. And as Ronnie would always tell you, those are his kids. I would greatly ask the board to respect his retirement wishes. I will
Tom.
move to approve the retirement.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the retirement from Ronnie Mills as a Board of Trustee member. Is there any discussion? We
I'd give him a
Okay.
round of applause.
Yeah. Yeah.
For his
Yep. Okay. Anything else anybody wants to? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So the only thing I'll say about that is then we'll have to discuss how to fill that position. So we will do that down in discussion items. So. Okay. So we are up to administrators. Gabby, do you want to go first? Okay.
Here you go.
There we go. Now it's good. I don't have much this week except for that the student council will be traveling to Cody for WASC on Sunday, the Wyoming Association of Student Councils. So we'll be going there on Sunday, returning Tuesday, and then after that we're going to do some fundraising to recover that dent in our budget. But that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions for Gabby? Okay, thank you. Tyler, would you like to go next?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Really just two things to report. As you guys know, we had parent teacher conferences a couple weeks ago. I was going to tell you guys that of our 180 students, there were 2 students that we weren't able to talk to their families, but we actually got one more parent teacher conference done this afternoon. So there is just one family that we didn't reach out, but I think that percentage is pretty excellent, especially at the secondary level. We did have, of course, some families that just absolutely can't come in and see us, and so they'll either do phone calls or emails or whatever works for their schedule. But it's still it's a dialogue and it's a discussion, and we feel really good about that. And we feel like our parents are really well informed. Which I would tell you the other piece. This week I was able to attend the Wyoming Association of Secondary School Principals Conference in Casper. Mr. Hoffman and I both went down for that. It was really enlightening. We had some good conversations with principals across the state, and we learned some different things from different speakers. And then I got to share with a group of principals how we do parent teacher conferences. And I think there's some people that got some good ideas for what they maybe could do at the secondary level. So that was kind of a proud moment, since that was something that our teachers came up with a couple of years back. So that's about all I got, I think, at the middle school, unless you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Randy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had a good turnout for conferences as well. We usually do, but we had 97% of our kids represented, and we offered either a phone conference or in person, and the majority of our families came in person. So that's always nice to see everyone. We also hosted our Halloween parade this year, opened up the doors, and we had about 165 guests come join us. So I filled the gym and the lobby, but it was fun and successful and had a great day. So, also and you might have seen it on the website, it's posted there, but we did finish up our school improvement plan that we submitted to WDE. You know what I mean? WDE, I'm losing it. Anyway, we focused on math for those two goals. It was pretty clear when we went through our data a little closer that it was math we needed to focus on. So going to firm up some things K-5, and hopefully we'll see some improvements there. So, and then the pencil store opened for 5th grade. So if you want to buy some fun school supplies, come on down. That's something we do for enrichment for our 5th graders and done it for many years. So that's all I have unless you have questions.
I don't have any questions, but I really liked the Halloween costumes that were the cones.
Yes.
I thought that was quite funny, actually.
We thought we would embrace the
everybody
difficult
thought it was funny,
situation, and I
so.
had lots of good, fun comments from our
Okay, good.
parents. I think they embraced it too. So,
Okay, good.
yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
I thought that was fun. Bryce?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The high school never boasts quite as good of parent-teacher conference numbers. Unfortunately, we had 70% of parents show up, which I felt like was pretty good. And I looked at last year's and we had 72, so we're right in the same ballpark there. The majority of the parents that did choose to participate did come in on that first night on Tuesday. There are 82 families. And so then I think, then there's, the families of 2, 3, 4 that, so the number was more than 82 kids on that night. We also cheat on that night a little bit with graduation because we have them order their caps and gowns at that time too. So that's always helpful in the fall. And then on Thursday, I had the option for emails, phone calls. Phone calls weren't quite as popular as I think they were last year, but I guess it's their choice how they would like to engage.
Yeah.
Yep. And then for the school improvement plan, we finished ours up as well. It's posted on the website. If you want me to send you a PDF copy, if that's easier, I could do that. So just let me know. We decided to focus on our equity group, which is our group that scored the lowest, the 25% lowest scoring students in math and English language arts. And for math, what our focus is going to be is before the YTOP tests, we're going to give them some extra help throughout our ER time. So they're going to be scheduled with Mrs. Reed, or, if we have a different math teacher at that time, that would be great as well. Just to get some help before the YTOP test, because if, I'm never a fan of teaching directly to the test, but if we're going to be rated and really judged on this test and pressure is going to be put on our teachers because of it, then I think we have to play that game. And so that's how we're going to do that in the area of math. And then with English language arts, we're going to still continue with our linguistics class that we've implemented the last 2 years. All of our freshmen who fall into the equity group are in that class and enrolled. So they're in a pretty good spot. As far as professional develop, we're going to work on consistency of practices school-wide, so that in the reading and writing, that we're doing the same thing in each class. And so if they're reading for content, reading for information, they're going to use the same types of reading strategies in social studies class and English class, so that those cross over for them. And the same as the writing process. And I don't know if Tracy ever reported it previously, but at that time when I was a teacher, we did all of this, but we've had a lot of turnover since I was a teacher. And this is probably 2013 when I'm thinking of all this training that we did. And so we thought it'd be important to train all of us once again, because some of those things, I think the lines have become blurred and a little bit fuzzy, and we're not implementing them that as well as we did 10 years ago. And so that's going to be one of our focuses to start. And then, yeah, it was great to attend the WASP conference. one of the goals going down there was just to meet people that we can collaborate with. We have a great team here in Newcastle, but it's also good to get ideas from outside of the box. I have some emails from individuals from across the state at the high school level that I think is just going to be really helpful, because I've seen them on Zoom calls, over the last couple of years, but I've never really engaged with the people in conversation. And that was a real benefit of this to me, is now I have some colleagues that I can lean on across the state for advice and for guidance. And so I think that's something that I'm looking forward to taking away from that conference. And then the hybrid math, it's not perfect, but I think it's going decently well. We've cleaned up some things. At first, when we first rolled it out, we're like, well, how are they going to turn the assignments in? Because we weren't collaborative enough in the beginning to even realize that, we needed to change that model. And so we've gotten simple things like that fixed. Each day, the teachers there, or at the end of each week, they send us an updated grade book of what the students have turned in, and then we're able to get that into the grade book for the students. At first, the turnaround time on the videos when students were gone was a bit longer than we had initially been told, but we've cleaned that process up. And so Mr. Abernathy is able to communicate that with the students a lot faster than we did in those first few weeks. And so, yeah, it didn't get off to a perfect start, and I don't think anyone expected that, but it is going better than if we didn't have this option in place. And I'm really thankful for the ESSER 3 funds, because without it, we couldn't afford it. And in some cases too, it's not for everybody, but I actually do think there are some students who learn better in this format than our other format. It's just interesting to see some of the kids who may have struggled in the traditional classroom format. And now when I go in there and I watch them, they're excelling and they're doing really well. And so that was an interesting thing that I noticed from that. I'll be curious whenever we do move back to a traditional model, what kids will have to say about this type of model and how it benefited them. So it's just an interesting takeaway that I've had so far. Any questions though?
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Karen,
Madam Chair,
Jason,
I'm sorry.
That's-
Bryce, is there, if and when we do that, listening to what you said, I think we probably might need to look at a possibility of doing some type of hybrid maybe or something. I don't know.
It's been, to afford it in the same format, I don't think we could do that and sustain it.
Okay.
I think we can take some lessons that we've learned from this as far as course structuring that I think are really positive. And so, yeah, maybe not quite the same model, but we can take some of these practices and apply those.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
are you planning on doing some, like when we're done with this, like any feedback, getting feedback from our students about, how do you think it worked for you? Did you like this?
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought of doing that or planned on doing that, where we're, if we got somebody in January and switched, I just don't know
and if
when
it's
we
that
would
quickly,
switch.
then that would,
But I think in the end, when this does all come down to it, I think it'd be good to get that feedback from everybody. Each week to the students do exit tickets on what they're working on. Maybe we did talk about this last time actually, but they're giving feedback to those teachers, and so they can adjust some instruction for them along the way too.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Taryn, would you like to go next?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I was checking my email during your executive session and I found out that it is National School Psychology Week. So I just want to give a shout out to Mr. McGuire. He's definitely a really important part of our team in his role he plays for us. So I'm really appreciative of him. Also, I just want to give a shout out to the entire SPED department. We're currently serving 137 students with IEPs, and we've had to make some really big just so that we're meeting student needs and we're making sure we're we're providing FAPE to all those receiving services. And so they've all taken on those challenges and are doing really good things there. Currently, we're working on some state reports. We're working on the self-assessment, which has 5 major components. And then indicator 13 has to do with transition planning with our 16 and older students. We have some out-of-district placement monitoring happening all over the state, and we're part of that. I got to meet with Wasia this morning. They met in Salt Lake. There was quite a few of us who did not travel to Salt Lake to meet, but we got to meet virtually with Margie Robertson, the state SPED director, for some updates on Medicaid billing and preschool services, some upcoming professional development opportunities that I think are going to be really beneficial, as well as a legislative update, because next week the JEC meets. So those are just a few tidbits of things happening in our world.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Taryn? No? Okay. Thank you, Taryn.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else that I'm missing? Is he, so I okay. I think we're up to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple quick notes. So one of them is, as you know, we had a little late start today due to black ice. And in the calendar, one of the things that is on the bottom, which has caused a little confusion, is what we say is on a late start on a Friday, we won't do an early release on that same day. But we did the early or the late start on a Wednesday, so that has not affected the Friday. So just so everyone is clear, primarily those students that love to sleep in or get out early, that weather pending, all we have right now is just the late start as of today. And the storm's moving quite a ways north, and it'll only affect North Dakota, and that'll be the easiest way to make sure that we have a late start tomorrow. So not specifically addressing where we're at for tomorrow morning yet, but we're watching the weather. The other quick note that I have for you is I shared with you the update from the Joint Education Committee. Nothing really to report on, just a lot of conversation, a lot of committee kinds of conversations. I believe next week at the School Boards Association, that'll be a very lively topic, whether you're talking about the basket of goods, the funding model, cost of living adjustment, all those things. But anyway, I'll just continue to update you on those kinds of events. And the other thing, just real quick, Mr. Hoffman referred to some of the students really do like the virtual kind of learning. And I believe that is true. I believe nationwide virtual schools really are on the increase. And one of the things that I am working with right now is just trying to educate myself more on how does a virtual school really work, and does it and can it do a job of meeting some student needs that we may not be doing as good a job with. Again, nothing more than just kicking the tires, trying to educate myself. But I do worry about just the idea of offering. To me, it's not just the offer, it's what kind of student results and student success do you actually get for that kind of learning opportunity. So with that, I do have a couple quick notes. Tom doesn't know this. Tom was probably a little unhappy this morning about not being with us anymore, but I can guarantee you behind the scenes, your bride Kay's probably pretty happy inside. And Marcia, I just want you to relay this to Bill. you're by far the best Lambert out of the group, and everyone needs to make sure Bill knows that as well. So again, thank both of you for that, but I think both your spouses deep down inside are probably thinking maybe there's a little bit more normality yet to come. So again, thank you for everything.
Does anybody have any questions for Brad? No. Okay. All right. How about future agenda items?
Did we do board report?
Oh, yes, sorry. Board reports. Sorry. Because you went to the conference.
There we go. Yeah. So a couple of things. One is again, I was really happy to spend the day with Sources of Strength all day. And I'm gonna have to switch this. The webbed board meeting is tomorrow afternoon. We will be looking at third quarter and October numbers to start sort of getting an idea of where we will be with claims versus income and what kind of increase we might have to have. And I'm going to share with you really quick some of the 13 or so seminars I attended. First one was from the basketball court to the boardroom. Magic Johnson is pretty cool. That was interesting. Innovation by Design was talking a lot about the digital world we live in and the kind of footprint we leave, and also being a disruptor in a good sense. And interesting enough, the gentleman who did this seminar is good friends with Josie Hutchinson Alquist. So we had that tie there. Specialty benefits, teamwork, building that on your board, benefit megatrends, public workers and Social Security and Medicare. State of the Current Economy was run by a CNBC person, which was really fascinating, and talking about signs of bubbles coming, like bubbles we had before, like housing and some of those things. And one of the most interesting things about that seminar was that there are, in fact, 1 million fewer employees available between the ages of 20 and 60 than there were 20 years ago. Fewer children were born. And so it's not that people don't want to work. I was absolutely insistent about that. There are just not the people out there. The numbers of people are not there. They're not just hiding at home. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. I went to a cryptocurrency seminar. This is about the third one I've gone to, trying to comprehend how it can be safe, and apparently benefit trusts are starting to look at possibly utilizing cryptocurrency. I do not look for WEP to do that. Healthcare legal and legislative update was basically about the Supreme Court decisions made in the last few months that have thrown physicians and institutions and insurance providers into a no man's land where they don't know what they can do that will put them in jail or keep them out of jail. So that was pretty interesting. Building succession on your board. I think that's always an important topic. Not Your Grandfather's Pharmacy talked a lot about how, all those pharmacy ads where it says, you could get this for $5 a month, apply here. And apparently that really is a good idea. If you have an expensive medication, you probably should see about applying for that. But we also talked about pharmacy benefit managers and the deals made between manufacturers and benefit managers, and how doctors and patients are getting more and more ignored through that process. So that one was a little depressing. Lessons learned from COVID and other disasters, and then the way forward, mastering life's toughest battles. So I attended enough of those to have it be a certified continuing education. Yay.
Thank you for going and attending that though too, because and even just being on that board, because it's an extra thing that you do, so it's appreciated.
And I got to see Billy and David.
What seminars did you go to, Billy?
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Other than what Billy did?
was in Vegas State.
Yeah.
We did get to visit with a French airline pilot for a while. Who, for some reason, kind of likes the four of us. I don't know.
What's not to like about people from Wyoming? Come on. Okay, how about other board reports? Jason, do you have one? Or Marcia, do you have one? No. Hold on, Jason, here. Hold on just a second, you're muted.
There, is that better?
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know if it really affects us or the business office or anything, but the only thing we really have is that Triple SJ Regional Learning Center is changing their name to the Sheridan Day Program. That's the only big change we're doing. So just a name change on the school.
Why is that?
There was within the community, there was just confusion as to what the school was by its name versus the programs that they offer. So they just figured that the Sheridan Day program was just a much easier, and the community itself has kind of dubbed it that name already. So the school just kind of just felt, since the people are already calling it that, they'll just officially make a name change.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Any questions for Jason? No? Okay, how about future agenda items? So next time we are going to be doing the board reorganization. So our first meeting in December. I'm going to be stepping down as chairman. So we'll be on the lookout to see who's going to be taking that on. So we'll find out. And so that every seat on the board is reorganized at that time. So it's not just the chairman, it's all of the chair or all of the seats. So that will be on the agenda for next time. Anything else? Dana.
Madam Chair, do we need to call for an earlier start for that, or just a normal business?
We usually just do it in a normal business time. It really doesn't take all that long.
Okay.
So thank you though. Dana.
Ties in with one of the discussion items, but we have 30 days to fill the vacant position. So if we take the applications and do the interviews, then I would suggest we move our December 14th meeting to December 7th.
John.
I can't hear.
We just had an election of the board yesterday. The results were out. And the last time this happened, I believe there was 5 people running for the board, and we picked the 6th place person to serve that vacancy when Dean Johnson stepped down, I believe. So, I think at this point, Marcia was number 5 on the election deal. I don't know as if we need to go for applications. I mean, the constituents of this district already kind of voted for that.
Madam Chair.
Billy and then Jason.
I was part of that, and that was one of my first meetings. We did open it up for interviews. There was 5 or 6 other people that applied for it. We did all interview them, and then we decided as a board. I mean, I was just saying, you said we picked the 6th one, but we did open it up for interviews. So I don't know if that's past practice. Like I said, it was my first one. So that was just my question. What have we done in the past? Yeah, I mean, so that's just where I was at.
The time that I've been on the board, we've done both. So I think it's up to the board what we do. And if you're wondering, the letter is dated today, November 9th. So that's the actual retirement date, because that's the date that the letter is written. So, but just so that you're aware, it wouldn't have mattered if we got it before the election yesterday, because it wouldn't have gone on the ballot anyway, because it's a resignation of a seat or a retirement of a seat. So it wouldn't have been something that would have been on the ballot. Just so if anybody's wondering, but Jason.
Billy answered it. Last time, yeah, we did ask for applications and we went through the interview process last time.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I guess I'm thinking that we just had a 90-day interview process for 11 people. And those were the people that were interested in being on this board. And the people in the community said who they wanted in that order. And there's 2 votes difference between Jason and Marcia. And it seems to me, and I'm leaving, so, but my own opinion is that you've had interviews, we've had more interviews with more people in the community than we have on any of the other times we've had a board vacancy, and we're so close. I mean, we're talking 24 hours away from the selection of the community. And so I think it's pretty clear. I think we should have a motion tonight to appoint Marcia effective at the December meeting and go on. Thank you.
Dana.
Can't hear.
There we go. I would point out that there were no 2-year seats available. People might have run for there are people who might have run for a 2-year seat. So it's not like they would be asking for the exact same thing they signed up for originally. I think we set the precedent. I think we brag about being transparent and open. And I think we should, the last 2 I knew about were interviews and then a selection. So that's what I think is appropriate and fair to the community.
Okay. Any other thoughts? You feel like you.
Well, I guess as I'm leaving, I would like to make a motion that the board appoint Marcia Lamp as the replacement for the retirement effective in December. And then we all can have a chance to express our feeling about that at this time.
I'll second it.
So it's been moved and seconded to appoint Marcia Lambert to the vacant position. Discussion. Dana and then John.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I am aware that there were phone calls made between board members today a lot. I was informed of them. I was excluded from the phone calls, Tom. I thought that was pretty inappropriate. I just think if you want to cause a rift in this board, this is kind of the way to do it.
Thank you. Any other discuss? Well, John, you were up.
Madam Chair.
John and then Jason.
I guess my question, Marcia, is are you interested in doing this?
I know that, but I just, you didn't win the election.
Any other discussion? John, Jason?
I didn't hear what Marcia said.
Yeah.
I said I would be interested.
Okay. Yeah, Madam Chair, I think, again, what Dana had said about the phone calls and certain members on the board, I don't think that was appropriate. But I think if the board did want to elect that position, I think we should leave that up to the oncoming new board members to be a part of that and not the outgoing. But generally speaking, I think it should be set to applications and that way.
Okay. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, so there's a motion and a second on the floor, so we will vote at this time. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say same sign.
Aye.
Okay, motion fails. Okay. Anything else for future agenda items? John?
To fulfill our obligation as far as our policy, we will have to either have a special meeting and we'll have to call for, I guess, applications, if you will, prior to that. So, we'll have to have our meeting by December 9th anyway, at the latest. That's the latest we could probably have it, which is a Friday. So we're going to have a couple meetings in between here and that, and then to be able to, unless we vote. Well, you got to read the applications, and probably if you're going to interview, you're going to have another one.
We did one last time.
We did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So anyway.
But we would need it.
We will need a special meeting. We'll have to
yeah.
change our meeting, so.
Yeah. Are you available on the 7th? Am I available on the 7th? I know. Is everybody available on the 7th? Okay.
Jason?
Jason, are you available on the 7th?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion? Because I have to have a motion to change the meeting and then early start. It's been moved and seconded to move the meeting from the December 14th to December 7th, and also to advertise an early start at 6. Is that okay with the motion and the second? Or do you think we need it earlier?
That's how many applications we have.
Let's do 5. We'll do 5 o'clock. Yeah, so we'll advertise for an early start at 5 o'clock on December 7th. Is that okay with the motion in the second?
Yep.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. How do we go about sending out a call for? So the paper and the. Okay. So look in the paper, look on the website so that everybody knows. Okay. Any other future agenda items? Okay. So to just get started with looking at calendars.
I think that's going to be the topic, and if we don't have that topic, it's probably the time to have that topic. So what I said is one of the things that is still an issue, probably not the best timing when you're looking at your student achievement, but anyway, if the calendar is to reflect the improvement or the opportunity to increase your student improvement, I know one of the things that's still out there is the 4-day week. And so I think when you're having that conversation, you should add that to your thought process.
Okay. Anything else for future agenda? Dana?
Dad, we have
Can't hear.
Okay, if we're going to talk about a 4-day week, I know one of the big holdups before was saying that we didn't know if we could get concurrent and dual enrollment kids the schedules they need. So can we have Mike have a presentation on that to show us that we can for sure do that? Because that always seemed like the biggest hang up to me, or the biggest argument against it was about that program especially.
So I believe what the conversation has been in the past is, what does EWC require as far as the hours needed to continue the concurrent and the dual piece? So if Kim and you, Bryce, could check in to see where that stands, although I do know there's going to be a considerable, well, as staffing patterns change, that'll change as well, which won't have anything to do with the calendar, but as they review that. And then also just last week, Kim did bring up the new president for a meet and greet as well. And there may be some new direction come from that leadership that we're not aware of. But I think if you're going to have the calendar conversation, you could do an A, B, and C. And of course, if you're going to do a 4-day week and you're looking at roughly an 8-hour day that you're missing, So does that mean you're, an hour before and an hour after example, or really what does a 4-day week look like, and how does it affect K through 12? And the other thing is also the transportation issue. So there's a lot of things that we've discussed over the years, but I know that, most people would tell you that Brad LaCroix is the roadblock to the 4-day week. I am not. There are pros and cons to any calendar. My concern has always been more from the student support piece on that Friday of, we're pretty active about talking about what's not happening for kids. And so what's going to happen for those kids on that day. And then I believe we'll have to have double aces at the table, because I know some people have said, you simply take double aces off of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then they just fill that vacancy on Friday. That's a question, because it does say it's an after school program. And then the other piece that I think we really need a lot of information on is if you're going to use Friday as a remediation day, what are you going to do for transportation on those days? And then the other thing we've argued over the years is we're not going to give up a lot of time Monday through Thursday. So the biggest problem you're going to have is probably going to the middle school activity schedule. And I know that we've played schools that, simply say that, no, you don't start at 5. We'll be there at 5:30 or 6. And if you want to play us, that's the way it is. So I just know it's out there, and it does not change the superintendent's world one way or the other. My concern has always been from the student voice that probably isn't always represented.
And I would just respond with, I have gotten the feeling that people are pretty happy with the early release Fridays. So other than 1 or 2 comments about it, no one's approached me like they were 2 years ago. 2 to 3 years ago, people really, really wanted us to do that. And I feel like they like the early release Fridays.
I'm just trying to express to the board that as a male, I do have listening skills, and it has been brought to my attention on several occasions that I'm the roadblock. So I'm just letting you know that if there's a group that wants to bring that forward, I can listen. But at the end of the day, I need to really be assured that it's going to help this learning issue, because my question is if you can do better with less, I would love to hear it. And it does not change my world one bit. And it won't. I mean, it's not about me.
Okie dokie. Future agenda. Anything else? I don't think so. Okay. How about discussion items, survey feedback? So we did both parent surveys, and we also did the board sent out surveys to the staff, just so that everybody's aware. And so we got all that feedback back. Okay.
Madam Chair, I guess what survey? I read last meeting's minutes, and the first meeting I've missed in years. So what board survey? Because you didn't want to do one 5 or 6 months ago. So what board survey did we send out?
Yeah. Well, so it was from the board. So it was a survey to the staff that the board got the results from. And they asked for our feedback on many occasions about the questions. Tyler sent the questions to us. We said, we think those are good, or we don't think those are good. And they were sent. We've discussed it at meetings on many occasions.
Rephrase that then. At what meeting was it approved by the board?
I don't know. But is that something that we need to do to, I mean, as far as a survey that's being sent out to our staff? Well, here's my,
Chair,
John.
I'll help, because I was the one that opposed that when it was brought up to the board. And I said, the board doesn't need to have the surveys for the, anyway, because everybody else does them, we don't need to do them. And so I know there was no vote of any kind on a survey. And I know that discussion was pretty hot and heavy, if I remember right, on my side anyway. And so as far as I know, this was not a board survey. It was a survey that may have been designed and sent to staff and parents, but it didn't come from this board.
But it was certainly sent to us in terms of we knew it was going out, and you got those emails as well. So that's all I'm saying. Brad.
About if we refer to this as a district survey, that we ask both parents and staff to respond to. And then if the board would like to do a board survey, then if you would accumulate those kinds of things, if you wish to do it, if you give those to CELO, and then CELO can keep the, you know, you got to really be careful with the idea that all of that information remains anonymous. So with that, we'll just refer to this one maybe as the district survey. And then with that information, you can do what you would like. And I believe I'll leave it at that.
Katrina, you have a question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so we as parents received a link in our class thing, and it says it's referred to the WCSD #1 School Board Family Survey. The Board of Trustees for Weston County School District #1 is seeking input from parents and guardians. Below is a link of the survey. That was info that we were sent as parents regarding a survey.
Yeah, and I think we also gave out computers at parent-teacher conferences so that people could fill those out. So I'm not sure. I mean, we knew all this was happening. I guess I'm not sure why there's a scuttlebutt about it, other than I guess I'm not sure. We all knew that. I mean, we've gotten these in our email. You have asked for feedback on those. We have given you feedback. So I guess I'm not sure. Maybe that's on me. I don't know. I'll take responsibility for that, but I feel like we talked about this at board meetings, and we also have got a copy of it previously. We knew that they were going to have email, or we knew that they were going to have computers at the parent-teacher conferences so that they could fill them out. So I guess I'm not sure. And this is also not the first survey that we have done. So I guess I don't know.
I was just saying there's no scuttlebutt with me. I just know that you guys were asking about the question or about the survey specifically. So I was just letting you know what I had filled out and what it was called
Yeah.
for
sure.
clarification for you guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Katrina.
Yep.
Dana.
I think part of it came as communication. Any communication we can get from the staff and our parents is an important thing. So this is a good way to do it. It's just a good idea.
Okay. Okay. So do you want to discuss that survey? Do you not want to discuss that survey? What's the board's pleasure? Because we all got the results as well. So I mean,
Madam Chair,
yes.
there's a lot in that survey to digest. Is there a way, or is it possible to have that done at like a board retreat or something along those lines?
We could. I mean, it's just an extra meeting, but yeah, we could do that.
Well, I mean, because I know we always do a board retreat. I just don't know if we could just add that into one of the topics to talk about.
We do that. Usually that's in February. Is that in February? When do we do that? The last one I think was out at the Pizza Barn. Did we do it out there? So yeah, we could do it. It's whatever the pleasure of the board is.
Well, I'm just throwing out suggestions.
Yeah, that's okay. Thoughts? Along those lines, do you want to keep the December 14th meeting also and do it then? Marcia?
They went to all this work to compile it, and we're here and it's on the agenda. I'm not sure why we can't just look it over and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm good either way. For sure. Yeah.
There's a lot there.
So what's the pleasure of the board? Okay. Okay. I guess I would say it's on the agenda, so let's at least talk about it, like the big takeaways that we got from it, maybe. And that once we do that, then Jason, I think it's a good idea to have that part of the retreat, because I think it's a matter of, okay, now what do we do with this?
Okay.
Because we certainly want to make sure that it's not just a survey that somebody does and nothing ever comes of it. So does that make sense or does that fit what everybody's thinking? Okay. Does anybody want to start, or you want?
I will, Madam Chair.
Okay, Jason, go ahead.
I guess looking through some of that, and then, and I guess with it being Mental Health Illness Awareness Month, I see there's quite a bit of comments on that particular topic, and how we're lacking in some of those areas. And especially if we had, what did she say, 137 IEPs in our district. I guess to me, that's worth opening up a conversation about.
Okay. Any other big takeaways for you?
The only other one, and I know we've discussed it over the years, is just getting scores and grades into the systems in a timely manner. I've
Getting
seen
what?
that in a timely manner for parents to
Oh.
look at, for students to look at.
Oh, okay.
So that, like I said, I know we've that's been on, I believe on some of these other surveys, that's been the topic.
Okay. Dana? Dana?
I was actually quite surprised how it went from one extreme to the other. We have some that feel safe and some that feel don't safe or not safe. From I'm happy to I'm miserable. I mean, it's every bit of the gamut, no matter what direction you look at it. So I don't know what you do to fix that.
That is, yeah. Okay, Billy.
I guess I'm just going to go the opposite. I'm going to focus on all the positives. I've seen a lot more great comments. I do have 2 students that are in the district, and I'd like to thank everybody in this district. My kids are learning a lot. They feel safe. I came from a school district that was probably not as good as this one, and that is one of the reasons why I chose to stay here with my wife and my family. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Billy. Anybody else? I want, I guess, some of the things that I took away from some of the staff surveys in particular was chain of command. That they really felt like that was important, and that we need to get back to that as a district. And I think so that's something that I think can be discussed and kind of talked about a little more. So a little bit like you said, on one hand, they don't want to be micromanaged, but then on the other hand, they want board members in the classrooms and, to sit in on, and so I wasn't sure how to take that necessarily. And so I'll be looking for more feedback from teachers about that, specifically about just how they see that going down. Like, where do we start? And is that going to be seen like from a board member's perspective? It's very odd to walk into the school and do you just pick a classroom? Do you ask if there's somebody who wants you to come? So there's some awkwardness to some of that, visiting in the specific classrooms. And so, and there's, so I don't know. I prefer to, I guess, see what people have invited us in to come see, I guess, and I know that some people feel like, well, then you don't really see what's happening in the schools. But I would also say, where do you start then otherwise? So I don't know. So that's something I'm going to maybe look to get more feedback on. But I was actually pretty happy because I felt like sometimes, I'm not going to lie, the last little bit has been a little rough. And so, but I was pleasantly surprised by some of the really positive comments too. So I was happy about that as well. So I guess those were kind of big takeaways. The other one I wanted to comment on too, as far as the parent surveys, the one thing that that I was happy about is that they felt like their children had someone that they could go to in the school. So I felt like that was a big deal. So that was kind of my major takeaway. Dana.
I also thought, on a positive note, on the parents survey, that it seemed like the communication had really opened up. So I think that's pretty cool to be coming from, what it was maybe in the past. It's improved quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. do you have any other comments, other thoughts, anything that you? Brad?
Madam Chair, if I could, I think one of the things that is crucial in this time is trying to get more towards that solution base. And so for us to do that as a leadership team, and I just wanted to really focus in on the safety piece, is it's really tough for us to use our resources and our connections with kids if somebody's having a problem, if we're really not aware of it. And so I'm not asking for students to narc on students, and I'm not asking, for retaliation, but really, if there are issues that deal with mental health, student safety, I'll use the word bullying. If I do know, and I can direct the building principals, the counselors, the staff, sources of strength. I mean, there are a lot of different things out there to help. The problem is it's really tough to know when to help and when you're intruding. And so again, I mean, the handy dandy 8862 number is available. And if I just had a better idea of who, what, where, when, and why, it really does help us direct and focus our resources to make sure that everybody feels that they have somebody and they have an avenue for success. If they choose not to use it, we can only try to redirect. But the thing that I can tell you over 30 years, and I just said this earlier tonight, I'm always amazed of the conversations that you have, one conversation at a time. And I think if somebody listens and somebody can assure them that they really can do it, whether it be a student or a staff member, that's half the battle. But again, I go into the safety issue. I would assume, unless somebody wants to tell me different, that our classrooms, our gymnasiums, our hallways, our commons are safe. Parking lots? No, they're not. It's not, Tom's been doing this for 50 years. Parking lots are dangerous, whether they're slippery, whether it's young people driving, whatever. And so, our focus has to really be on some solutions, and the negativity that's around us, we do control, and we control it by positive conversations and really being good listeners and trying to make sure everybody, whatever your age is, whatever your gender is, whatever it is, has somebody that they can reach out to and know that they have some supports, because you can't be alone in today's world. You just can't, and you're not going to fix it all by yourself. You're not. But I think the leadership team, the director team, the staff, and I'm very proud of our young people. I look at the number of 30 years. I know a lot of young people that have gone through here, and they are successful. And they're successful because they deem their success, not me, not a test score, not the idea that they have to have an education, but they can be a productive member of society. They can do things for themselves and their family that they want to do. And really, okay, our math scores are low. So everybody that has a low ACT score, here's your new requirement. You have to have a 5th year of math. Anyone want to stand up and vote for that tonight? You don't, do we, Tom? But I would tell you, if I'm not very good at math and I am a parent or a student and I want to go in a field that is going to require some math, don't take less. That's not beneficial. It's not. It's free. And so take advantage of what's in front of you. And if there's some things that need to be fixed, we'll show up tomorrow morning to start working on those as well. But I'm very proud of our student body. Not just in the gymnasium, but I watch them in the hallway. I watch them in the community. They watch me. just like they watch you. I mean, we're a small community. So by God, we should be able to come up with some solutions. And that's my soapbox for tonight. And I bet you I just stole your thunder, Mr. Wright, but I've heard that over the years from him.
Thank you for that, Brad. Tom?
Yeah, and I'm not commenting on the survey as much as I had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to come to the Thursday parent teacher conference at the high school, middle school. And unfortunately, most of the parents on Thursday night were calling in or emailing in. There were some exceptions. And so there were some people that I missed because they were busy with parents. But I heard several things I'd like to share with everyone. And one of them was board members come to my classroom. That's an almost unanimous feeling. Walk in, see what I'm doing. I'm proud of it. Secondly, there's some concern about vaping in school, drugs in our community use. But this couple people didn't feel that we had too big a problem actually in school. But we have people in school that have a drug problem. We talked about transparency and communication. We talked about incentives for tests. And I thought this was very interesting. Interesting conversation. And I'll just leave it with you and you all think about it. But you know, maybe if we have a number of people that the Y-TOPS is not important to because it doesn't do anything for them, maybe we put up $20, $30 and say, if you spend an hour working on this, we're going to give you a $10 bill right here. So you don't just check it off A, B, C, D, and turn it in. I mean, if you spend an hour, I guess you can still do that, but we want you to spend the time and take it. And then maybe if you improve 10%, 5%, 8%, pick a number, we give you another $10. And we could do that. We can afford that at the high school very easily for the final culmination. We can probably, is that still on? We can probably afford that down the ways when you look at all the expense we spend. And I know some of my friends don't think it's a great idea, but we got to have an idea to make this so we don't have out of a class of 80, 70, 62, and we have 8 people that don't pay any attention to it. And in our school, that just destroys the curve. And it doesn't mean that we're having a problem teaching science or math. It means that we were testing something that wasn't important to the people being tested. I enjoyed that conversation and I don't have an answer, but there's a couple thoughts about it. There are several instances that are in favor of a 4-day week. I thought we ought to look at it. And we had a discussion about some of the same things Brad brought up. We had a discussion about transition folders for new people or people that have even not new to us. I mean, that are new to us, but maybe they've taught for several years. And we had a couple of instances, apparently, was described to me, where they came and started teaching and they didn't know, there was no one that had written down for them what the combinations are for the lockers, where you put your clothes, where you get in, how you get a permission to use the school after 4 o'clock. And also, I mean, they have an idea about the curriculum, but they didn't have any idea about when is the math contest, when do I get ready to go to the social studies contest or the FFA judging or those kinds of things. And I know from a personal experience, that's been a problem. People, teachers, administrators have some feeling that those are my personal records. And they're gone when they leave. And somehow, and I don't have a solution here again, but we need to have a store of those things. So the person that comes in as a long-term substitute or comes here and this is their first teaching job, they have the answer to some of those things. And they don't have to scurry around and call 6 people to find it out. They open it up and it says, you're gonna have the state math proficiency test, or we're gonna go there, or ordinarily we take Fridays off because of football games, or these Fridays in a row or something. I thought that was probably a good idea, but I don't know how to do it without adding to the teacher class load. Okay, the teacher workload. Some compromise there. But anyway, I had a grand time. It was a fun way to leave you, and I enjoyed it all. And I'm sorry I didn't get to the elementary school that day. And I kind of thought, well, if I get reelected, I'll try to go down to the elementary school, but that's okay. I just would encourage each of you to do it. Go out in teams of 2 or 1. You don't have to spend the all afternoon, or just go by. Stop at the office and say, hey, I'm in the building and I'd like to walk down the hall and look in. You can tell pretty quickly if they're having a test. Maybe you don't want to look in too closely. But if they're having a lecture, maybe they'll invite you in and have you be prepared to talk about a little something, because they're pretty good about introducing you. Hey kids, this is Tom Wright, and he talks a lot at school board meetings, but he's the one that handles the calendar. We had a discussion about calendars, and that's one thing as a board member I'm grateful that I will miss, because years ago the superintendent did it, and we got in trouble, and then we had school committees from each people at each school, and they did it. And then they came to us and said, we're not going to do that anymore. That is too divisive. And so then we had a special committee of teachers and staff members who were interested in calendars. And they did that about 3 years or 4 years. And they came back to the board and said, we just want you to do it, and we're going to complain about it. Okay. I mean, I'm not saying it has to be that way. And that's just how it was in the old days for you. But those are the things that I had that I told people I would bring up and the board would hear about. And I think I got most of them. And thank you all again.
Thank you, Tom. Make sure you list with us. Okay, anything else? Okay, Jody and then Gabby.
Tom stopped in my classroom that night, and it really was nice because I'd already done the parent thing on Tuesday, and we just got to sit for about 10 or 15 minutes, and I got his ear, and it was nice that he came in and asked questions. I mean, I guess for me, that was nice, that personal contact with you, Tom. I really, really appreciated that. And thank you for taking the time to do that.
I enjoyed the afternoon.
Yeah.
Or the evening, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, I also would invite the other board members. That was a really nice night to do that because I had time to sit and visit a little bit, on that second teacher.
Right, yeah.
Good night to come see us. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Gabby. Oh, yes, you.
No, it works. We're good. I just also would like to add in to the board coming to the school as a student. I do think it is a great idea because I know that even before I joined and I started becoming more involved, I was not necessarily sure what the Weston County School District Board consisted of or who it consisted of. And I think that a lot of kids have a lot of things to say, but they don't necessarily know who to speak to. And I know you don't hear all of that because yes, not all of them are valid, but some voices and some opinions are valid. And I do think they could be very helpful to you guys. And it's good to interact with kids and know the faces because we are a small community and we should know each other and be more tight knit because it does help us progress. And I think it could help us a lot. And then also backtracking, I'm going to backtrack, but please don't diminish what anybody else has said in between then. On the safety of our students, I really do think that our school is a safe place. I know that in all my years I've lived in Newcastle, I have felt very safe at our schools. And maybe, yes, when I was younger, I was more unaware of my surroundings, but as a high school student, I feel very safe. And I know that we have a great teachers and stuff. Many times when I am not okay, I have to decide, and I'm not necessarily sure how, but they know when you're not okay, and they will pull you aside, because we do have teachers that are willing to take that time out of their day and talk to students and figure out what is going on. So I think that deserves some credit, and that we do have a very safe environment that not everybody acknowledges. But yeah, that's all I had.
Awesome. Thank you. And I appreciate your willingness to stand up and say it in this environment, because everybody else got to do it basically anonymously. So we appreciate that. That's a big deal. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Anybody else? What do you think about the idea of doing the 14th as like a retreat to discuss some of these in more depth? Or is that something you want to wait until you have the meeting for the new members? I don't I know, but I meant like wait until they get a chance to say yes. I mean, I don't know. Will that be enough time? Do you think, will that be enough time for you to? Okay. So, okay. Are we thinking the 14th?
Or we could decide on the 9th.
Yeah, I'm good with that too.
I was gonna say, it was a lot easier if you're having company or traveling, you could do it the first thing.
Yeah, either way. Okay, so let's put that on the agenda for, well, I mean, whoever takes it next, but on the agenda so that we can. Okay, resolutions for delegate assembly. Oh, look at that. Marcia is going to be our delegate. We did not talk about that in open session because, well, I tried to, but no one jumped at the chance. So I sent out another email begging, and Marcia stepped up to the plate. So Marcia is really kind of wanting to know where we're at in terms of how we would like her to vote. So what happens? So when we go to the WSBA convention, so it's the Wyoming School Boards Association convention, that is in. This is something else. So anyway,
Can't find him. Look your pocket.
So anyway, what we do is, our district, they have a delegate assembly on the first day of the conference. And so the number of votes you get depends on how big your school is. We get one. Yeah. And so basically, it has to be a member of our board. And so she has stepped up to do that for us, which has been really nice. And so that was something that she wants us to just talk about in terms of how we would like her to vote, so that she makes sure that it's our vote and not Marcia's vote. Does that basically sum up what you? Does everybody have access to their email? Because we also got it there. It would have been from Brian to us, and then it would have either been from okay, I have it. Oh, I don't know. So the first one, be it. So this one is BOCES is LEAs to receive funding. So be it resolved that the Wyoming School Boards Association supports legislative action that would authorize a Board of Cooperative Education Services, so BOCES, to act as a local education agency for the limited purpose of applying for eligible federal and state grants and for acting as a local education agency for participating school districts that choose to apply for, receive, or administer a grant through a grant program created by a federal or state statute or program. Is there any reason why we wouldn't be? Can anybody think of any reason why they? The next one is, so this is compulsory attendance and early intervention, first grade students. So be it resolved that the Wyoming School Board Association supports a change to state statute, and it gives a statute number, adding the words "or while enrolled in first grade" to the statute to read, every parent, guardian, or other person having control or charge of any child who is a resident of this state and whose 7th birthday falls on or before August 1st or September 15th, if the child started kindergarten pursuant to an approved request under Wyoming Statute 21-3-110, or while enrolled, so it's pretty easy to understand, just so, but, or while enrolled in first grade of any year and who has not yet attained his 16th birthday shall be required to attend. Basically, they're saying they want to make it so that you are required to attend school, because they know that attending school is vital to your success. Now, that doesn't change homeschool or any of that. It's not saying that. It's just saying that we're saying they're changing the wording. But they're adding the wording "or while enrolled in first grade." So I think what the difference is it's an age versus "or enrolled." I'm in favor of that, I think, because it just makes it easier. I mean, when you think about when they first start that grade as opposed to when they turn that age. So it's still changing sometime in that year. I'm just saying, this resolution is saying it's supporting changing it at at the beginning of that year or during that year, as opposed to whenever they turn that age. Right. Okay. It just makes sense. I don't have that one. It's real weird. Oh, I was going to say the next one is special education graduation counts. Yeah, so there isn't any. So they don't have a recommendation on the special education graduation counts one. So if they don't, do they even vote on those? Okay. So this one says, be it resolved that the Wyoming School Boards Association supports the development of an alternative diploma by the state of Wyoming in order to recognize special education students as a part of the extended year adjusted cohort graduation rate as defined by the ESSA. The state of Wyoming should take advantage of the flexibility provided under current federal law to recognize special education students who complete appropriate requirements as outlined in their individualized education plan, but who do not otherwise meet graduation standards. These students should be counted for their efforts at completing measures toward high school completion as defined by their IEP.
I think we should be in favor of it. It's really changing. I mean, if you finish your IEP, that's what you're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And if you've done that, then you should get a certificate. That is what you, your parents, the teachers, all agreed was the important thing. And so we should recognize it and then count it as a graduation. Because currently it doesn't because of the way the federal regulations are.
Okay. Anybody else have a thought that's different than that? Do you guys have thoughts about that? Currently, they complete a certificate of completion by meeting their prescribed IEP goals and learning plans as outlined by the IEP term or by the IEP team equate to dropout status. So even though they've put in the time and they have gone through their IEP and met those goals, it still counts as a dropout because they don't meet the standards of every other student that every other student has to meet. For me, I'm in favor of that. I feel like I think that it's important to recognize the kind of work and effort that those children have put in, and it's by no means less than every other student in the school. And I also don't think it should count as a dropout, in my opinion. I mean, they did.
I'm sorry, I think they got an IEP because the process determined that they were not a regular student. So when they're successful at the IEP, and then they should get they should not count on your dropout rate because they've done what what the team and the student have agreed to do. So that's graduation. Now, it's not graduation in the same way that probably Gabby's going to graduate, but that's because they have a different need. And for us, for anyone to count them as a dropout when they have followed the whole plan that they have been under for however long, we should recognize that, and that is success, and we should recognize that that's success for them.
Yes.
I would just add, I mean, since 2004, a lot of people from a lot of different groups nationally have worked to get Congress and the U.S. Department of Ed to change that. It's taken a very long time, and it really is time for it to be changed.
Any other thoughts on that one? Okay. So the next one is corporal punishment. Elimination of corporal punishment in Wyoming public schools. So this one is, be it resolved that the Wyoming School Boards Association stands in opposition to the current legal protection afforded to the use of corporal punishment in Wyoming public schools. The recommendation of the WSBA Board of Directors is to affirm this.
I mean, I don't mind sometimes being in the minority, but I really don't want to get up and defend corporal punishment. I mean, it just, I don't think that's appropriate.
That's not the one you're going to take with you. And that's not your hill. Anybody else on that one? Does anybody else feel differently on that one? I mean, I don't think anybody's going to touch that with a 10-foot pole just in terms of legality, but I mean, if they want to try that, they can. But okay. Do you feel like you got what you need there, or okay? Does anybody have anything else they want to add about those things, or no? Okay. Okay, if you have any more questions, let us know. But okay, so the last thing that we have is the WSBA award. We just need to discuss when or how we're going to present that. Ronnie Mills got an WSBA Champion of Education Award, which is pretty cool. And we just want to kind of talk about when to present that, or if that's something we should present to family, how we want to go about that. Dana.
Madam Chair, I would say it would be entirely up to the family, how maybe give them a couple options if they think we'll be able to do it in person for him here. If he gets if he's back, or if they would like to do it where he could watch on Zoom, maybe. There might be several different options, but I think it should all be driven by what they'd like to do.
And so I've been in contact with the family, and so they're going to let me know what those next steps are going to be. And so once they let me know about that, then we can make that decision then. Are you guys okay hanging on to it until we find out a little more. Yeah. John?
Madam Chair, the only thing that I would ask, when that award is presented, that Tom Wright is the presenter. He's the one that did most of the writing, and I just feel that that's something appropriate. So,
Absolutely. The other thing I would ask too is, are they going to also do a presentation at WSBA? I mean, even though he's not going to be there. Okay. Okay.
But you might bring a program.
Okay. 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 Anything else to come before the board?
Madam Chair,
Jason?
every year we always remember after the fact, transportation to to the conference.
Yes. Who all is going and when is everyone leaving? And would you like to ride together? Okay. So you're.
I don't know yet. I may be in Denver on Tuesday and just come up to California. Not sure yet. Depends on
Okay.
the weather.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Can't go till Wednesday evening after my board meeting.
Okay. 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 And yeah.
We'll have to reach out to Sean.
So Jason will reach out and see what we can come up with, but when were you planning on going down?
I'm free all day Wednesday.
Okay, so if you wanted to wait, you guys could ride together.
Yeah, yours.
So,
No.
wow, that was quick. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. She has memories, so. Okay, so Jason, you and Dana can get together on that, and then you guys will get some information out to you guys, and you and Sean, and we'll go from there. You guys are certainly welcome to ride along, or if you want to take your own, that's up to you. We'll get that all figured out. So, okay. Okay, Tom.
Board usually likes to take them to dinner if we can, if we know, somebody's making a presentation.
Mr. Bean is getting one.
He's getting one. He's getting one.
He'll be there for the bank.
Yeah. Okay. Anything? Perfect. You can't get rid of the mystery machine. Okay, anything else to come before the board? Okie dokie, seeing none, meeting adjourned.
All this Weston County Recreation Board meeting. There. I have an agenda in front of you. I have no changes to it. Moved and approved. Moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Say aye. Passes. You on?
Go ahead, Billy.
Is there any recognitions or visitors' comments? I guess I'll just tie both of them in together. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Second, to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Please say aye. Aye. Passes. New, old business or new business? Is that correct? And I do not have any for your information. Is there any discussion items? Call this meeting adjourned.